Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And they say that good food is best enjoyed with great company, and I have great company today. Today we got incredible people. They're joining us for the Festive is On Us campaign. We've got Vafa, who is here, fresh from his win at the Savannah Comics Choice Comedy Awards, along with Bings. Bing, Bing, Bing. They call him Bings because of the muscle. And, of course, Anjal from Tiger Brands, who are just here to share a bit more about some of the funnier moments. In fact, a little later, we got Suzal DIY, the funniest chef on the planet, who will be joining us for a lovely glaze ramon, or gammon, up to you, and cheese croquettes. That's coming up later. But for now, we have to focus in and talk to these three amazing people. First and foremost, how's everybody feeling this morning?
Very good.
Welcome.
Good.
No, it's happy to meet you. I was saying to you, Vafa, that I just know your stuff, and it's like we knew each other, but we had never met. It's just one of those things. That's what social media does. It's one of those things. But you've just got yourself Sauce of the Year award, courtesy of Mrs. Balls. What does it take to be that saucy?
I think they plan to melt me at some point and just put me in one of the bottles. And I think I taste good. Oh, sorry.
What, sorry?
This is...
Family show. Yes, you say? Yes, that's it. So, well done, hey. It really is great.
No. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
So it was. It's just. I think last year I was nominated for 3 awards.
Yes.
I was unsuccessful for all 3. And then this year I was nominated for 4 awards, and then one of the awards was the Sauce of the Year. So it was quite a nice journey to finally win an award.
Okay.
So this was among the first comedy awards that I won. Yeah.
Are you suggesting that last year with 3 awards, they have now added awards? The one that
No, I was nominated for 3.
Yes,
I mean,
so
there were more than, yeah.
But they added you said 4, you were nominated for, and you won the one this year. So essentially they've added one so that you
I could win.
They made it design Vafa. They said a sauce. If we look at you, it's sauce.
Exactly. But there was a sauce the previous year, but yeah, it's a different flavor.
This is lovely.
New
But
brand.
well done, eh? Honestly, you are incredible at what you do. If you ever follow this man on social media, you understand what I'm talking about. Anjal?
Yes.
From Tiger Brands is here.
Come on.
How cool is this? No, I love the fact that Mrs. Balls and comedy, there's a synonymous feeling in that. It's about that feeling around the table, you know, where people are sharing jokes, and now suddenly you are integrated within this concept. So in terms of, you know, Mrs. Balls being part of festive celebrations and a celebration of this talent in South Africa, tell me about those synergies and why this just makes sense.
Well, Mrs. Balls is very much lighthearted, so I think it's really just about bringing your best self to the table.
Yes.
And you don't have to be an expert chef. You know, it's not that deep. You don't have to be that serious.
Yeah.
And it's about great family moments. It's about laughter and humor, and I think that's why the synergy works. You know, so people enjoy the missus, as we call her, because she brings that cheekiness.
It's our mistress. That's right.
She brings that cheekiness to the table, so yeah.
You know, and I'm really great, and I think this is it's the start of something very unique. It's the start of something quite beautiful that I'm looking forward to, which is very, very important. Bings, you're quiet. Why are you so quiet in the corner there, brother? I've got some questions for you.
Yeah.
So my first question is that given the fact that global warming is a problem in South Africa... No, I'm kidding. It's not like... But just from your side, I do need to ask you about, just in terms of, you know, South African kitchens. You know, Mrs. Balls has been part of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's got a Mrs. Balls story, and I'm sure it fits into you as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, Mrs. Balls has been a brand that's been deeply entrenched into the South African cooking culture.
Yes.
The brand has been around for 100 years. You know, so it's got a strong heritage, you know. If I think of Mrs. Balls, I know myself, it takes me back home. So back home, my gran used to make a lot of sampin beans.
Oh, yes.
There's nothing like a Mrs. Balls with sampin beans. You know, it tastes real good.
No, that's very true, eh? And there's something about Mrs. Balls, is that literally on anything, like just if you want to add something to anything, you do Mrs. Balls. And this is why I'm going to say comedy is important too, because if you add humor to every situation, it becomes infinitely better.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is that brand that brings humor. It is that brand. And in terms of food, you know, we're all about elevating the plate. So with a bit of flavor, we bring the aroma, we bring the flavor, and your food just tastes great.
Love that. Bings, this is great. By the way, I'm not sure, did Mrs. Balls come out with a protein version? Because I saw I'm checking this guy here. Are you adding protein?
That's a great innovation.
It would be.
It's in the pipeline. It's in the pipeline.
For the macros. You know, I get you. I got on your side. What were you going to say, Baba?
No, exactly the same thing.
You're going to say the protein version?
He told me off air that he puts it into his pre-workout. That just sends him through the roof. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. But that's the new line.
You should try it. Yeah.
It's called Mrs. Gaines. Yeah, I know. I'm working on it. But Mrs. Gaines is the new Tiger Brands. They told me they're going to add that
You're
for
really
Bings
good at
only.
your job. You're very good at your job. Yeah.
Fafa, you are great.
You're
I'm not
amazing.
the sauce of the year, my friend.
Yeah, you should be.
I'm more
Next year.
the side dish of the year. But that's okay. I'll put Mrs. Balls in that too. Vafa, just in terms of the festive season, tell me about like one dish that will always remind you of this time of the year.
I think, like at home, mom cooks two types of chickens. One
Yes.
is chicken in the oven, which is just chicken in the oven. And then the other one is she makes this chicken. I asked her what the name was because I knew I was coming onto the show.
Yes.
It's a mixture of like mayonnaise and Mrs. Ball's chutney. So I was like, what's the name? She's like, you can call it whatever you want.
But I know this mixture.
Yes, and it's amazing, unrivaled. Like so that really brings a lot of nostalgia. But traditionally, I think when I'm home, I grew up in Mafikeng.
Yeah.
What I'm so used to is like street food, so like your kotas or like your slap chips.
Yes.
And then you go into a place and you want the slap chips, and then with a special sauce, they just chuck every sauce under the planet, and then if Mrs. Ball's in there, it just sends it to a new level.
That's
so
it.
Just like I think you're just eating sauce with a little bit of chips. Like that's, and then you put it in bread.
I know what you're talking about. Because the only identifiable thing is Mrs. Balls, because everything is in a plastic bottle. They're just doing
exactly,
this.
Exactly.
And then
exactly.
Mrs. Balls. And I get you.
And then with like a little label, and somebody has scribbled something on it, you can't read what it is. And it is like,
it was from last year.
And my mom hates it. She's like, come and eat real food, and we're just there drowning in sauce.
That's the thing, man. It just makes sense. And then, Anjal, just in terms of, let's just say one dish that reminds you of the festive.
Bobotie.
Mrs. Balls and Bobotie, that is like, come on.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's just a classic pairing, yeah. And it's, warm, heartfelt meals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And then Bings, besides samp and beans, what are we thinking? Also besides protein, what is the other thing for you?
Unfortunately, chicken is a source of protein.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I come from a family that's surrounded by women. So a lot of aunts, a lot of cousins, sisters.
Yeah.
So back home during December time, we usually do a bit of chicken marinated with some Mrs. Balls. So definitely reminds me, takes me back home.
This is going to be great. It's going to be a great season. Also to you, Anjal and Tiger Brands, for just bringing out Mrs. Balls in a certain different way. The applications are endless, and I think it's almost like the scaffolding of our lifestyle. Everything that we do, Mrs. Balls is involved. You know, understand? It's honestly, Mrs. Balls has been actually our therapist for years, and that's why I think it's fantastic to have that. So. Now we need to apply. So with Bings and Vafa and you, Anjal, we have somebody very special that's going to be creating a glazed gammon and, of course, some croquettes for us as well. Of course, with a bit of Mrs. Balls attached as well, so stand by.
SA's #1 original chutney.